I never believed in love at first sight. It always sounded like one of those things people said in movies, too convenient, too scripted. But the night I met Adrian, everything I thought I knew about myself shifted. It was at a friend's birthday gathering in a dimly lit cafe tucked away downtown. Music hummed low in the background, and people were laughing over slices of cake and tall glasses of wine. I had gone only out of obligation, determined to stay for an hour before slipping back into the comfort of my own apartment. Then I saw him. He wasn't the loudest in the room or the most flamboyant, but something about the way he carried himself, relaxed, genuine, drew me in. He had a book balanced on his knee even in the middle of the party, flipping through pages like the noise didn't exist. I don't know what came over me, but I walked over and said, "You really brought a book to a party?" He looked up, and I swear my chest tightened. His eyes caught mine, calm but mischievous. "Depends," he said with a crooked smile. "Are you going to judge me for it?" That was how it started. A teasing exchange, nothing more. But within minutes, I found myself seated next to him, ignoring everyone else. He talked about the book, about photography, about how much he hated small talk, but somehow didn't mind it with me. The longer we spoke, the less the rest of the room mattered. When I finally checked my phone, hours had slipped away. People had left, and the cafe was nearly empty. "I should probably head out," I said reluctantly. Adrian tilted his head. Studying me, "Do you want to walk with me? My place isn't far." It wasn't far, but the walk stretched into something timeless. City lights glowing above us, our shoulders brushing now and then. Every time I caught his glance, it felt like he was asking a question neither of us dared to speak aloud. By the time we reached the street, the air between us was heavy with unspoken words. I didn't want the night to end, and when he paused by his door, I realized he didn't either. He leaned closer, his voice lower than before. "I don't usually do this," he admitted, "but I really don't want to stop talking to you." My heart was pounding so hard it felt reckless. I swallowed, then answered, "Then don't." That was when he kissed me. Slow at first, careful, as though testing the waters, then deeper, with quiet hunger I hadn't realized we both carried. The world shrank down to the warmth of his lips, the press of his hand against mine, and the rush of certainty that I was exactly where I was supposed to be. In that moment, I understood something. Love doesn't always arrive when you expect it. Sometimes, it sneaks up on you in the middle of a crowded room, holding a book and smiling like he's been waiting just for you. And for the first time in a long time, I didn't want to run from it. The morning after our first kiss, I woke up with an ache in my chest. Not regret, but disbelief. Had that really happened? Had I really kissed someone who made my heart race in ways I thought only existed in books and half-forgotten daydreams? Adrian had slipped his number into my phone before I left his doorstep. "Text me when you get home safe," he had said. And though I did, what followed was a string of messages that carried on until sunrise. The next few days blurred into a rhythm of anticipation. I'd wake up, check my phone, and find a message from him. Sometimes something as simple as "good morning," other times a random thought like, "Do you think strangers ever fall in love just by making eye contact on the subway?" Every word made me smile. Our second meeting was quieter. He invited me to his apartment on a Saturday evening, promising the best lasagna I'll ever taste. I expected chaos, a messy kitchen, a failed attempt, but Adrian surprised me again. The table was neatly set, the lasagna golden and bubbling in its dish, and he looked unfairly good in a casual sweater and rolled-up sleeves. We ate, we laughed, we teased each other about our terrible taste in music. It felt easy, like we'd known each other for years instead of days. At some point, he pulled out his camera, a sleek, black device that seemed like an extension of his hand. "Can I?" he asked, already lifting it towards me. I groaned. I hate photos of myself. "Then you haven't had the right photographer," he countered, smirking. "Just one. I promise." I let him. The shutter clicked, and he studied the result with a satisfied hum before turning the screen to me. It was me, but not how I usually saw myself. The lighting caught my face gently. My eyes softened in a way I didn't recognize. He had made me look beautiful. Something shifted then. I realized Adrian didn't just see me. He noticed me. The details, the small parts one usually hid, the sides of myself I thought weren't worth showing. After dinner, we ended up on the couch, close but not touching, talking about everything and nothing. My head leaned back against the cushions, his shoulder barely brushing mine. The silence between us wasn't awkward. It was electric. When he finally reached for my hand, it felt inevitable. My fingers slipped into his like they belonged there, like they had been waiting for this moment all along. "I don't want to rush things," Adrian said softly, his thumb brushing across my knuckles. "But I also don't want to pretend I'm not drawn to you." I turned to face him, my chest tight with something that felt dangerously like hope. "Then don't pretend." The kiss that followed was deeper than the first, more certain. And when he pulled me closer, when his arms wrapped around me like I was something worth holding on to, I knew. This wasn't just a fling. This was the start of something real. Something that terrified me and thrilled me all at once. Adrian's kiss deepened, his hand tightening around mine, before sliding up my arm. My chest burned with the ache of wanting, of finally letting myself want without restraint. Every brush of his lips made me crave more, and the softness between us turned into something hungrier, more urgent. I shifted closer, my thigh pressing against his. The warmth of his body seeped into mine, grounding me even as my pulse quickened. He tilted his head, his mouth teasing mine open, and I gave in willingly. The taste of him, sweet wine lingering on his tongue, the heat of his breath, was intoxicating. When he pulled back for air, his eyes searched mine, darker now, laced with something raw. "Tell me to stop if it's too much," he whispered, voice low, rougher than before. "Don't stop." I breathed. That was all it took. He leaned in again, this time with no hesitation, his hands framing my face as though he was afraid I'd disappear. My fingers tangled in his sweater, tugging him closer until our bodies fit together, chest to chest, heartbeat to heartbeat. The world outside his apartment didn't exist anymore. There was only the heat of his touch, the weight of his body pressed against mine, and the fire that had been building between us since the moment we met. He trailed kisses along my jaw, down the hollow of my throat, and I shivered, clutching him tighter. Every place his lips touched felt claimed, like he was leaving a map of himself on my skin.